liver's still bleeding.
I have spent my life performing non-invasive entrail reading, but using x-rays, MRIs, CAT scans, ultrasounds, angiography, and even tagged radioactive substances. And most of the time, I've been able to figure out that person's future. I can tell you that a huge percentage of you listening right now and watching right now are walking around with liver lesions. Most of them are benign cysts. It's quite rare for these fluid-filled cysts to be infected abscesses. Of the solid tumors that affect the liver, luckily, most of those are benign too, and they're called hemangiomas. Most of them are under 4 centimeters in diameter. After 4 centimeters in diameter, they can become problematic and, like a maybe, needs to be watched or have some sort of action taken upon them. So look again, okay? That's like your maybe answer. Some tumors have fat in them, and most of those are benign. Most of them. However, there are certain tumors that are very, very ominous. And the same goes for the bowel, the bones, the spleen, the pancreas, the gallbladder, the brains, the lungs, and all the kishkis of the world. I'd like to tell you a story about a modern entrail reader who saved my grandfather's life. My great-grandfather was the son of a very famous rabbi. Unfortunately, my great-grandfather was more interested in gambling and was known as Harry the Bum. He begat my grandfather, Walter, who was abandoned by Harry the Bum. Without any parental guidance, my grandfather dropped out of high school and went to work. He begat 2 children, one of whom was my father, and the eldest of the 2 siblings. Everyone was proud as he was the first in memory to go to college and then to go to medical school, where he became a radiologist, a reader of entrails, just like myself. Well, my grandfather, Walter, was a smoker, and he had a cough. And he went to his family doctor, who took an x-ray and interpreted the x-ray of the chest and the lungs to be normal. He was not a trained specialist in radiology. And my father, on the other hand, was in the middle of his training as a radiologist or a reader of entrails using imaging. He was irate when he found out that his father had had an x-ray done and had not shown it to him. I mean, after all, this was what he was in school for and training for. So reluctantly, my grandfather showed his chest x-ray to my father, who was an expert in pulmonancy, divination with the lungs. My father saw a lung nodule, and back in 1970, CAT scans hadn't really been invented yet. So my father requested that another chest x-ray be taken, and he saw some subtle growth in that lesion. And just based on his opinion, his expert opinion alone, he sent my grandfather, his father, to the operating room where he was confirmed to have lung cancer, and they took out half of his lung. The 5-year survival rate for lung cancer of that type in 1970 was as close to 0 as not 0 could be. My grandfather, however, lived for another 27 years and died of something completely different. He was completely cancer-free. My father saved the life of my grandfather. So I'm a believer in the science of looking at organs for prognostication, and I have told many, many people, based upon what I see, yeah, go ahead and take that vacation you've always wanted to take.